Hey, how you doing, everybody? As always, this is JD Lewis with Untamed Conversations. Today, I actually have a special guest. It's a good friend of mine, and I'm going to let him introduce himself, and then we'll go from there.
So, Matt Ventura, live in Orange, Connecticut, grew up in West Haven, Connecticut. Had the privilege of knowing JD now for a couple of years, and we've obviously gotten closer over the years since then.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You said the privilege of knowing me. That's funny. Not everybody says that, but I'll take it. We actually met Matt through my cousin and his wife, and then other mutual friends. So it kind of all gelled together, and it was pretty cool. We're both New York Giants fans, New York Yankees fans, and UConn fans. So we're kind of going to start it off right there, and let's start off with the Giants. I mean, where do you see us? I mean, the draft's coming up. What are your thoughts, Matt?
It's a tough time to be a Giants fan. A lot of changes, right? Defensive coordinator, you got Wink, who I loved, gone. Everyone's talking about, is Daboll the right coach to do it?
Well, there was a big argument, I guess, with Wink and Daboll. I guess Wink was trying to, a mutiny? He was trying to get the coaches against Daboll. You can't do that against the head coach.
Not the head coach. Where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Wink got kind of cut out from Baltimore.
Yeah.
For the same thing,
and
now
let's
it's
be
happening
honest,
again.
We haven't had a good defense. Well, I take that back. He was good, but since Steve Spagnuolo, and we see
what he's doing right now.
So
it's amazing that we let him go, but
the Giants seem to do that a lot.
You let Tom Coughlin go, and then Spags goes. So
and I think that Daboll's the right coach. I think he's a good coach. I'd like to see us sign Saquon.
I'd love to see a franchise running back. I think we put a lot of money to invest in a quarterback that we still don't know if he's the quarterback in the future.
And that's the problem. You have, I believe, what he's owed. Is it $40 million? I think
$40
this
million
coming year,
right? So last year,
yeah,
he didn't even play half the season, right?
He tore his ACL, so he's not even going to start. I think till probably the 4th or 5th game of the season. You have Tommy DeVito, which we don't even know if he's coming back yet. As of right now, he's on the team. Listen, did he bring a spark to the team? Did he make everybody happy? Was it cool? It was funny.
They played it for a while, right? Tyrod was solid.
Tyrod was great too, but unfortunately he gets hurt every year. And it's not his fault. He's a great player.
He's a mobile quarterback.
But ever since, I think it was when he was with the Chargers, remember when the medical staff actually punctured his lungs? He has never been the same since then.
Amazing. He played for the Bills really well.
It was hard.
He's a backup.
Yeah,
he's a backup quarterback.
He got tossed around. You have Saquon. You could franchise tag him one more year. But what does that do?
Will he want it? I mean, again, he's taken a very hard stance. Where last year it was, I can't wait to be a Giant for the rest of my life. Now it's been, we'll see where this goes. We'll see where the offseason takes me.
The problem is, you look at him and you look at Christian McCaffrey. He's looking for that 16.5, 17 million, exactly like McCaffrey has. I know last year he said, no, that's not what he was looking for. But look at what McCaffrey's done and what Saquon's done. Completely opposite. Saquon, I get it. He gets hurt a lot. Yeah. I am a diehard Giant fan, but at the same time, I believe they said they offered him somewhere north of 13 million, 13.5 last year for 3.
The third highest behind Derrick Henry.
13.5 million a year for 3 years. I mean, in the running back market today, that's something I would have taken.
In a heartbeat.
It looks like from all the draft experts that the Giants are going to take. I always forget how to pronounce his name. The receiver from Washington State.
Yes. I mean, how did the chips fall? Do the Bears go QB at 1 when they already have a quarterback that they put high draft kind of value into?
Having Justin Fields and Caleb Williams on the same team.
It's insane. Like RG3 and Cousins being drafted in the same year.
What are you doing there? And I mean, for us, I hope you go receiver 1 because one lineman is not going to change everything.
Yeah.
Certain teams, I guess it does, but for us,
we've invested more than enough.
I think we're finally getting rid of all the dead cap space and everything from what was his name a couple of years ago?
Galladay.
No, well, Galladay, our old GM that we got rid of. Who was supposed to be like a guru from the Panthers, and he turned out to be nothing. I mean, I feel bad. Yes, he ended up getting cancer. He got through it, but okay, so that probably that probably fucks some
Yeah,
stuff
Dave
up
Gettleman
too.
was not
Yes,
the right,
there you go. And
right
then,
man for the
what
job.
was it, Ben McAdoo, and then
Listen, I like McAdoo. McAdoo, give him credit.
I think he was
McAdoo, when he
thrown to a
wanted to
shitty
draft,
situation.
he wanted Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I'll give him
Just
that.
think of what difference there would have been.
Well,
And again,
when's the last time in history, honestly, that the Giants have taken a mobile quarterback? I mean, obviously Daniel Jones is mobile to say,
so is Patrick Mahomes a true mobile quarterback?
and that's what I'm saying. I mean, they could have. I feel like they could have had.
Daniel
many
Jones is more mobile than
quarterbacks.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Daniel,
It also gets him hurt all the time.
he can't see an open receiver, but 10 yards down the field. But I mean,
Listen, I feel like every Giant is a dreamer. I think when we looked at this season, we said, all right, got new offense. Daniel Jones is our quarterback. Saquon's coming back. We're
our defense
getting
played
healthy.
great. I mean, our defense played great. What's it? Micah McFadden came in. He was a backup. He came in to start at linebacker. I mean, he was playing great. I mean, our defensive line played well. Some of our corners stepped up.
Trevor, Lawrence, Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence,
He's
yep.
a beast. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Leonard
lost
Williams,
that.
we
You
got rid of.
signed Dex.
Yeah.
Thank God. You got rid of Leonard Williams.
Yep.
And what did he do in Seattle? Nothing.
Exactly. I mean, he don't get me wrong. He clogged up the middle, but he wasn't really much of a playmaker for us anymore. He was a good locker room presence, I guess.
Maybe, but you don't pay $12 million a year for locker room presence. I think you have to lock up Xavier McKinney. He's
Yep.
your captain of the defense, right?
100%. Yep.
Okereke was a monster at linebacker. Just a great signing. I'll give
Do you bring
Shane a pass on.
Do you
some
bring
other-
Simmons back, who we signed last year? I think halfway through the season.
I think he signed because of Wink.
Which was
So
funny
it's-
because we wanted him in the draft. I think the year before or 2 years before, and we wanted in the first round. And he
Out of
ended up
Clemson,
going.
he was supposed to be
He was supposed to be an animal.
amazing hybrid linebacker
I mean, he's
or whatever.
fast. He's fast, but
You have to know how to use him.
yeah.
He would rather be a edge rusher because one you get paid a lot more.
Look at
He's
Max
great in
Crosby.
coverage. Right. Look what he's done with his career.
Max Crosby. I mean, I don't think he got drafted too high, if I'm not mistaken. He wasn't too high, and he was supposed to be a decent player, and then he just turned into an animal.
You're a game changer.
Um,
When you have a rusher like that,
yeah.
he killed us. When he went to Vegas,
Who hasn't killed us?
true. Hey,
Well, that's
the Washington Commanders, not the Redskins. I was gonna say.
At the end of the listen, you can say Redskins. Everything, there's nothing off the table on it.
Right.
That's some Giants talk for everybody out there that is a Giants fan. I know it's hard to listen to that.
Here's just I just want to be competitive and have a chance at the playoffs and beat the Cowboys.
It's again, we didn't make the playoffs, which is fine. The year prior to that, we did. We weren't expecting to make the playoffs when we made it. At the end of the day, we are still not the Cowboys, and I will take
We're
that.
rebuild, and we're behind the Eagles by a long shot too.
Yeah. So let's kind of shift a little bit to baseball. Let's
Baseball's
talk
your
about
world
these,
more than mine, right?
Yeah, I mean it's the Yankees are looking semi decent right now. Juan Soto was a pickup they had. The problem is he's signed to
It's
a
a
1 year
1 year.
deal.
Do you have the cap? Do you have the money to pay for them?
Doesn't
We haven't
want us-
shown that we want to pay for
Exactly.
people.
You got we saw the deal for Blake Snell out on the table, and I guess as of right now, supposedly they altered or changed the deal, $35 million plus, supposedly for 3 years.
Listen, I'm a Yankees fan. I have family in Baltimore though, and I have to say I like the Orioles.
I like what
Finally
they're
have a
doing.
competitive team.
Yeah.
They signed Burns. They got a ton of young, just talent. They're going to be the team to beat, sadly, moving forward.
With that young squad, I mean, and that's what I think you have to do, like the Yankees of the '90s. Jeter, Posada, things like that.
You grew with them. I mean, that was the perfect storm.
And don't get me wrong, obviously 09 was not a homegrown talent. You had A-Rod, you had
You injected a ton of
Teixeira,
big
correct?
names.
Yeah, Teixeira, A-Rod. I mean, Matsui was just an animal.
Matsui is one of
I love
not
him.
many people that come over from Japan succeed.
Yeah.
And he wasn't like the most amazing guy. He was just
But he did the
great
job.
at
He did the
everything.
job.
and he was a playoff stud.
He was. He always came through big. He was.
Never got like
Which I
jitters
think
or anything
no,
like that.
I mean, he took over New York, he never was scared, and that goes back to, you look at some of the older Yankees, CC Sabathia. Tore it up, was never nervous in New York.
Never.
Let's see.
He won that spotlight, right? Came up in Cleveland. He went to Milwaukee for one season and killed
amazing.
And then he came to us, and he was your workhorse. And at the end of his career, he couldn't even hit 90, but the dude just came in and battled.
Garrett Cole is what basically CC Sabathia was for us. He is the workhorse. He carries the team.
Listen, I like Stroman. I like Stroman coming on.
And we have what?
I know we've had this debate of if he's the 2 or the 3.
It looks
if
like
he's the 3, then the Yankees have a very good year. If he has to be the 2, because Rendon is a 5-point.
Well, that's the problem. I know they're saying right now Rendon's having a good spring. I know it's early.
Hey.
Everybody has a good spring.
Everyone. You're in Florida. It's 80 degrees.
Every year that Luke Voigt was on the team, he had a great spring. He was this, he was that. And again, I think Luke Voigt was mismanaged with the Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, I hate to go back to it, but was it Clint Frazier? He got the concussion.
He was one of their young studs. Came up, dropped him down, came up, dropped him down, got hurt. Like, we did the same thing, I feel. Like, Jabba was on the way to being a superstar.
That bug game never...
Threw him into the bullpen, and then he got the midges when we went to Cleveland.
Ridiculous.
I think Joe Torre will never forgive himself for that either.
I think they should have kept Jabba in the bullpen for the way he threw and how hard he threw. He was a great setup man.
Just his attitude. Like, he was that emotion that would come out.
At one point, he came in and you knew he was going to shut it down. And then Mariano Rivera was coming in next, and there was no chance.
Game was over 7 innings, right?
What if we had that? I mean, we had Chapman throwing 102 miles an hour, but how many blown saves did Chapman have? I mean, he was...
Sometimes he couldn't hit the strike zone if he painted himself, right?
You could throw hard, but if you can't... I mean, it's whatever. I mean, he did some good things
part of his mental, too. Like, he would just get in his own head.
He couldn't handle New York. Like I said, there's a lot of people that play in New York that just can't handle it. Like, you look at, like, an old-school Derek Jeter, he handled it fine.
Heartbeat.
Paul O'Neill coming over from the Reds, he handled it. Tino Martinez, he handled it. That old-school crew, they knew what they were doing.
Different John. I feel like... Again, did we have the same amount of social media?
True. I mean, you mess up and you're destroyed.
Like, Mike Mussina was probably the one that was on the borderline because he was like, he had a little bit of an attitude.
I liked him, though, because you remember that game when I think it was, they were trying to take him out, and he said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I believe Torre went out to the mound to take him out, and he said, nope.
He pointed at him, he's like, you better go back down. Joe Torre's like,
and he finished the game. But I mean, nowadays you can't do that anyways. I mean, coaches kind of rule everything.
No, stats rule everything.
And that's,
numbers rule everything.
Computers, everything like that. Oh, well, this guy is bad against him. This guy's bad against him.
Listen, when you invest $300-400 million in a person, and look at Ohtani, that's just
and who knows how he's going to pan out with a bad arm right now. Anyways, I mean, listen, he's an amazing baseball player. Probably one of the best baseball players to come around in the last 20 years.
I can go farther. Like, I mean,
I would say
this is a top pitcher, top hitter.
And we'll see how it turns out. I mean, he's going to obviously DH this year.
Right.
I mean, the Yankees are looking semi-solid. You're going to have, I believe, probably, Juan Soto
in left?
In left. And you'll have Judge in center.
Judge playing center.
Right field's going to be... I mean, you have Stanton that could play the outfield, but Stanton kills me.
He's your DH, right? He's going to sit in your DH spot.
Stanton's hit or miss. I mean, he's either going to drop a bomb or he's going to strike out.
So how did your fandom of Yankees start? I would like to hear how... Obviously, we're in Yankee area.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean, like, my dad's a Red Sox fan, but I'm a Yankees guy,
right? It came from my dad. My dad was a Yankees fan through and through. It was kind of just put in my head as a kid, you're going to be a Yankees fan, you're going to be a Giants fan. I believe my dad's father, when it came to football, was a Raiders fan.
Wow.
So I don't know how the Giants thing turned out. Went to a couple games, started playing baseball myself, and that was it. I just fell in love with the Yankees. Like, everybody wants to wear those pinstripes. Even if I ever made it playing baseball, I couldn't play for the Yankees, though, because I would never shave my beard.
Love it.
You're going to give me $5 million? Sorry, I can't shave my beard.
Had to shave his beard.
He was another decent pickup for us.
We back in the day, we had some amazing pickups. Even like a weird... We signed Cecil Fiedler, right?
Yeah.
I love the I mean,
Speaking of
Sheffield.
Cecil Field, yeah, Sheffield was.
Sheffield.
They all played decent for us. Real quick, speaking of Cecil Field, how about Princefield? His career was ended so short because of his neck injury.
Right? I mean, he was looking to be what his dad was.
Funny stat: him and his dad ended with the same amount of home runs. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's insane. Actually, I believe it was. Don't quote me on this. It was either three. It was in the 300s, but they ended with the same amount of home runs.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He was.
Shit, we had Randy Johnson. Remember? We had Randy Johnson at one point in the Yankees.
He's one of the ones who couldn't handle New York. That was a great example of those who came here, and you're like, he's gonna be amazing. Listen, he had his time too. I like the Roger Clemens. He beat us in the
World Series.
I like the Roger Clemens.
Remember that game when they announced that Roger Clemens was coming?
He's in George Steinbrenner's box.
And then he went on the PA and he said, "Oh, I'm back," or "I'm coming," or something. Like I remember when he threw the bat at Piazza, which wasn't even close, by the way.
He was all jacked up.
And Tara, I hope you're listening to this because she's a diehard Mets fan. I'm a diehard Mets hater. Yes, Pete Alonso said someday he'd like to be a Yankee. It takes a lot to be a Yankee, I think, and I think when it comes down to it, it takes a lot to be a Yankee. It takes a lot to be a Red Sox.
There used to be
and everybody
more,
hates the Astros.
I think there was more weight to that back in the day. Like people who came to the Yankees understood the history that they had to build up to.
Yeah.
Now it's just I come to the Yankees because they pay me the most money, right?
And that's not even happening anymore. The Yankees aren't even, I mean, yes, the Yankees are one of the still top spending, but the Dodgers took over the world.
Billions. They're in the billions when it comes to payroll. Again, can the Yankees do that? They could if they wanted to.
If the old man was still alive, he would have bought everybody.
If the old man was still alive, we wouldn't be in the spot we were in.
He doesn't. His son, and I feel like he is a great owner, but I think Cashman needs to make another big move. Cashman just seems to be able to keep his job every year, no matter what, though.
I don't know.
No matter what happened, he must have something on the Steinbrenners. He must have something on his cell phone.
He's made some moves that have been very questionable. Even going into this year, I don't know how you had the catching trio that we utilized of Trevino, Higashioka, and I forgot who the third person is. Again, how is that you go from a Jorge Posada, who's your catcher for
and you had Sanchez, which, yes, I get it. He was lazy at times. But why is it
Gave you the offensive output you wanted.
He went to the Padres. I think he went, if I'm not mistaken, the Brewers first, then the Padres. I forget. But he signed another contract. I mean, he's doing well.
He's talented, right?
He is talented. Is he lazy a little bit? Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, anybody who's played baseball, I'm sure they've walked to first base or this and that.
Right.
How about what's his name from the Angels? Did you hear the quote?
Was it Trout?
No. What's it? Is it Anthony Rendon?
Yes. Yep, the third baseman.
Yeah, he goes. They said, is this your number one priority? He said no. He goes, this is just something I do for work. My faith and my family come first, which I agree with that. Family's always number one. Faith, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think it sounded bad, I guess, but
right.
At the end of the day, I mean, he's being real. He says, I do this as a job. I don't necessarily love it, but I do it as a job. I mean, I would love getting paid $265 million as well.
In a heartbeat.
He's also been hurt a lot the last couple of years, so I feel like unless he backs it up, I feel like he's going to get a lot of backlash.
Biggest waste of talent, Mike Trout on the Angels.
Because he's what, third? He's in his early 30s. He's
in his second contract. He's had a guy with Ohtani sitting next to him. You had that much talent in your outfield, and you couldn't even get to the playoffs.
If they don't do anything this halfway through the year, I say send him to a competitor. Or I mean a contender. I'm sorry. Send him to a contender.
Imagine what you could get for him.
Look at Bryce Harper did. Bryce left the Nationals, and he is just an
He was adopted by Philadelphia. And he's a Philadelphia attitude.
They love him. They love him.
He's the
I think, and I'm not talking about being a diehard Yankees fan where, we need Trout. Put Trout on a team where he can win a World Series, because I think he deserves it.
Listen.
I don't say that about a lot of players, but I think Trout...
Bryce Harper wanted to be Yankees, all I have to say. That Cashman dropped the ball in a heartbeat.
I mean, we still need one more pickup. And like I said, the Blake Snell, you have a couple guys that are still free agents, but are we going to make that move?
No. And listen, beginning of every year, we always get the list of all the talent we have in the farm system and this and that. It never develops. Right, and I look at Tampa Bay and the amount of arms that have come through them that are now just all over MLB.
I love seeing these young guys. I mean, me personally,
I want to see the alien. I want to see him.
I might get
playing full year. He was here at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Can he start in right field this year?
I might get yelled at for this, but I want to see somebody sign Trevor Bauer.
He was throwing 93, 94.
What happened, but he was proven to be innocent. And again, who knows what that means when somebody, that can mean a lot of things.
He's an interesting attitude.
He did his time. He tore it up in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, he was done dirty by the Dodgers anyways. They let him go immediately, which is actually insane to me. He wasn't even proven guilty, and they said see you later. He's still throwing mid-90s, 95, 96.
He just posted a video of him just throwing BP, and he's in 93, 94. This is an MLB arm.
Give him a chance. I mean, go, league minimum.
I think he can't do a big market. He's going to get eaten alive in Boston, New York, LA, but you go to Minnesota.
The Dodgers. I mean, I just feel like he's got that personality. He's got, I feel like, Joe Kelly's personality.
Wow.
Like that.
I'm not a big Joe Kelly.
I just don't. I love Joe Kelly. He just I don't
Rub
give a shit attitude. No, but listen. I mean, we've talked about the Giants. We've talked about the Yankees. Both teams that are very depressing right now.
Sadly.
But I'm gonna throw it your way because I know you're more of a basketball fan than I am.
Yeah.
So, dude, how about from last year to now? How about UConn, man? The way they let their last game of the season last year, which we all know what happened, to now. I mean, I think Hurley's a ridiculous coach. I mean,
I think it's funny because he's coming to his own. Even the beginning of the years that he's with us, people were questioning, is he the man? Is he the right guy? Right? He just needed his guys there, the guys that are as passionate as he is. Right? He's a firecracker. I love watching him on the the court side of yelling at the refs, but he's actually chilled out a little bit. I think that's actually helped him, and what got us through the tournament was the fact that he wasn't screaming at the players. He would come and talk to them. He wasn't getting technicals from the officials, which is killing the game itself, game flow, all that stuff. Let him play.
Well, and that's funny you say that because I read an article on him that they said, great coach, lives fast, and that's a good thing and a bad thing where he's going to come through UConn, knock on wood, win 2, 3, 4 national championships and move on because he is a...
I would love to know where you go from UConn, right? What do you want? Duke? What do you want?
Honestly,
Kansas?
I would love to see him pull like a Krzyzewski. I always pronounce his name wrong, but where he stays at
Listen,
UConn
Calhoun,
forever.
UConn has been in a great... We've had Gino Auriemma, who's a women's coach, forever. Couldn't even name the coach before Gino.
Yeah.
We went from Calhoun to Ollie. Listen, Ollie still won a national championship. I understand it wasn't his players, but he still won the national championship. And I actually just heard that he is the interim head coach of the Nets or something right now.
But you could also say that real quick about Steve Kerr with the Warriors, their first win. They said it was, oh my gosh.
I don't even know who the coach was before Kerr.
Jackson. It was. They said it was his, not Steven Jackson. Oh my God, but
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson. Yeah, they said it was his team, which I think it was. It was his team, and Kerr won with them.
Well, now you can see they're getting old. They're not winning anymore.
Well, look at in the NBA. We're gonna get back to UConn in a minute, but look at in the NBA. The Bucks decide to fire their coach, and they're in second place. They bring in Doc Rivers. And they've lost, 8 out of the last 12? I mean, what are you doing?
You're bringing in this old kind of mindset that doesn't work anymore.
They've been through 4 coaches now in 2 years, and Gianni, I'm sorry.
Wait, I was going to say, Untamed.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to try.
That's more of a player thing going to management saying, I don't. As much as players say they don't do that, I think it's bullshit. How do you get a coach fired that is, the team was in second place, and now you're just dropping, and now you're still going to complain and say we can't figure it out? No shit.
Right? Maybe also play like a team player. Again, he is one of the quintessential NBA I exist for myself.
Yeah.
I'll pass you the ball every once in a while, but
Listen, we're going to talk about this in a minute because we both have some passion about this, but I want you to kind of finish with UConn.
Yes, great. All right, so great year this year.
Who's their center? That I always pronounce his name. Yes. See, every name, I know who they are. Names are just terrible with me.
Clingan is a beast, straight out of Connecticut, which I'd love to see talent stay in Connecticut. 7'2".
You can't stop him.
Yeah, you can, as long as he doesn't foul out. So he needs he's still young, and I'm still under the thought of unless he smashes it and he's a double-double every game for the end of the year and he kills it in, like, the tournament, if I'm him, I come back. But I understand it's a ton of money. But now with the NIL,
You're making tons
there's
of
a
money
time right
now.
now, too. Like, Paige Beckers,
Yeah.
guess what? She could have went to the NBA. She said, I'm coming back for senior year. She makes $1.5 million a year of NIL money. She probably would make less as a salary in the WNBA. So, you know what?
Which is also another problem, and I think Caitlin Clark's going to stay as well. That's a discussion for another time. That the WNBA, yes, obviously the revenue is not as big as the NBA, but I think they're severely underpaid. We could talk about that another time. But this is why a lot of people are going to stay in college. Like Caitlin Clark is.
I don't understand how there's more money for the female college players than there are for female professionals.
I think it has to do with revenue and rights and TV ads and this and that.
Sponsorships, all that stuff goes straight to management. I don't know if it just doesn't flow downhill or if they're just not making it. Right?
You know what they should do? I think they should add the WNBA to the NBA All-Star Weekend.
So they did. They had
Sabrina and Curry,
right? That was cool.
And I think they should do something like that again. I mean, I think it'd be cool. Maybe get some notice for the WNBA. Like I said, I don't really watch it myself, so it's hard for me to really talk about it. But
we're in the sector where female basketball, at least in Connecticut, is a big deal. Right?
We should watch it more. I mean, I would love.
I
should go to
every
UConn.
as a UConn fan.
I should go to Mohegan. Watch a Connecticut Sun. I think we could do that. That'd be cool. I mean, but
as fathers of daughters.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? I think it's nice when I go to a game.
Yeah,
we go to a women's game.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm like, check out these chicks are killing it.
Yeah.
They're killing it. And guess what? Half the time, when the girls were good and the guys were bad, I was like, that's how you play basketball.
Yeah.
Not the way the guys do, because they throw the ball all over and they're flashy.
Yeah. Yep.
The girls motion, know who to play, play defense on, how to move around. Chino's just a great coach, but they play fundamental basketball.
And obviously, like you said, I mean, like I have a daughter too. I think we need to, obviously you do it. I want to do it myself more. Support that, women's sports, so they can see, like, listen, oh, this is cool. Like Hannah is playing softball and she loves it, and I love going to her games. And listen, sometimes it's hard to watch because she's learning still. And I, as a parent of how I was taught sports, I'm just like, I bite my tongue. I'm like, you know what? She's got this.
Right. You got to think of where they are and how far they'll come.
Yeah, but how do you feel? Let's wrap up with UConn. I mean, what do you think the outcome's going to be this year? Not as a fan, but as a real.
I don't even know if I could say it because I would get in trouble if it didn't happen. But like this team doesn't miss a beat. You know, one guy goes down, next guy steps up. You lose Klingon for he has 4 fouls. Samson Johnson comes in, he plays perfectly. Sometimes they're both out. Caravan comes in, and he's playing the 5. And like this team just knows how to keep rolling with the punches. Newton doesn't have a good game. Castle doesn't have a good game. Kim Spencer drops 22 points. Kim Spencer is like my spirit animal. I love this dude.
Yeah.
From Rutgers, and I hate Rutgers, but thank you very much, Rutgers, for Kim Spencer, because this dude is like, he just gets it.
Sometimes schools don't know what they have until the person leaves.
I also feel like when you played on a team that you haven't been able to achieve anything, and you come here and you go, wow, like look around. I got 15,000 fans screaming.
Yeah.
Like he just loves the energy.
I agree.
And he plays off of it. I think it was this game against Marquette on Saturday, right? We're up by 20. And there's a timeout, and the Marquette dude bumped him. And then they were walking again, and the Marquette dude bumped him again. And he just started jawing at him, and they started screaming at him. And they started screaming at the fans. I'm like, listen, you step on their throat when you're up by 20. Like, that was half of our problem was we were up by 20. And all of a sudden, they would start creeping back in, and they're not happening anymore. So I think this team, they keep this mentality. Like, they just keep rolling.
Repeat. All right.
Yeah, right? I would love to see it.
I said it for you. So I kind of got something we're going to talk about. We've been talking about sports for a little bit, but this is something that's big to Matt, and this is huge. So I really want to let him explain. We'll get into it. What I'll say is, Matt has opened up his own business, and yes, I'm a bad friend. I haven't been there yet. Work is, the days are hard.
That's right. It'll get nicer,
there.
and the doors will be open, the patio will be open.
But I'm going to let Matt take it from here and kind of explain what he's doing, what's going on, and really how hard he had to work to get this business open.
Thanks, man. So this has been a long time coming. This is a baby child of myself, my other partner, Zach and Cedastone, that I went to UConn with, and our GM, Connor Rasmussen. Zach went to California, and I want to say it was 2017. And just traveling for work, went to go grab lunch.
Yep.
I went to this kind of bar, restaurant, walks in, and he just sees a wall of taps. And he's like...
That'd be fun.
I don't know why, but his first thought was to call Matt. I needed to call Matt. I needed to show him this.
Nice, okay.
And this was in the time of, FaceTime was kind of brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why is he FaceTiming me on a random Wednesday afternoon when I'm at work?
Yep.
I picked it up. He's like, Matt, I'm pouring my own beers. I'm like, does that mean I need to, pick you up from, the police department? Because, you're behind the bar pouring beers? You know you're not supposed to do that. He's
absolutely.
like, yeah. He's like, there's a wall, and there's taps, and I can pick what I want to drink. I'm like, tell me more. So he told me more. He was there for 5 days. He legit went there every day. He talked to the GM. He talked to the owner. He talked to the people who work there.
Yep.
He's like, man, we need to bring this back to Connecticut. And this was 2017 when all the breweries were really starting to gain traction. Beers in Connecticut were huge, and IPAs and all that stuff. So cool. Let's leverage. Let's do what we can do.
Yep.
Come back. He starts. Just brainstorming. Right?
Yep.
Where? When? What do we want to do? Well, hold on. Let's pump the brakes a little bit, because Connecticut is weird when it comes to liquor laws.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just check and make sure we could do this.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's take our legal brain out, or let's just Google it, like everyone says. So Google it, and lo and behold, you can't.
Absolutely
It's
not.
illegal. A patron can't pour their own beverage, which means a customer can't walk in and use this wall, even if it is. So, holy smokes, what the heck? All right, what are you supposed to do? We actually did some research. I almost forgot about this part.
Okay.
Is that in 2017, we kind of did some Connecticut research.
Mm-hmm.
There is a guy in Danbury that actually was working with the state rep there, who was David Arconti, to create a law, kind of what we did.
Yep.
But before we did it, so they had kind of started it already.
Okay.
It had zero traction. He didn't really do much outside of just, going and giving a speech to the committee.
Yep.
But we connected with the guy in Danbury. He showed us his building. He showed us, what his idea was. This is amazing. Let's... The next session, right, session goes from a certain date to a certain date. So the session was over. We're like, let's build steam, some momentum. So next year during session, we have the bill written. We could go up there. We could just, lobby, get people to kind of talk about the system. He kind of just, businesses, sometimes they don't work, and he'd been working on it for years.
Yeah.
He just kind of got out of money, right? So
That
we're like, all right, fine. We're going to take the torch. We're going to keep walking. So it was kind of nice. That rep, David Arconti, was like, listen, I'm still cool for this. If you guys want to keep going. I said, yeah, hell yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
We actually got the senator from Milford. He was able to kind of help push it along too.
Okay. Yep.
That was the first year that we had actively done it. James and Roy, like I said, was super cool. Really got to know us, what our idea was. Arconti, again, same deal. Really wanted to know it and push for us.
Yeah.
We went up to Hartford a couple of times. But you can't really gain traction unless you have a lobbyist on your side, right? So we did it. We pushed it. People heard about our law, but unless it gets to the floor to get voted on, it was worth nothing, right? You did all that effort,
For
nothing.
Yeah.
So that was year 2. So we already spent 2 years. Damn it! Now we're wasting time at this point.
You're at 2000.
So now 2019 would be year 3 of kind of session that we got into
And
it.
then COVID hits.
Kind of. So that was the big year that we pushed.
Yeah.
So 2019 was like, we're doing this. We got a lobbyist. We got actually a marketing guy.
Awesome.
So they were actively meeting with senators and reps on our behalf, setting up meetings for us to talk to other reps and stuff, figuring out who the opposition of the bill was and how we could talk to them and change their mind, right? What's the whole deal? The biggest hiccup for most people is, all right, so you're trying to get rid of bartenders. I'm like, no, I'm actually going to employ more people that are going to be at the wall and interacting with people and cleaning I still have a bar. I still have a bartender. So I didn't get rid of that. If my whole goal was to make less people, why would I have a bar?
No,
It wasn't. I want to have the ability for someone to come to my tap room.
Yeah.
And try 69 different beers, wines, seltzers.
And that's awesome.
Ciders.
Yeah.
But I also want you to pick some brewery.
Yep.
And say, I have no clue what the heck Nod Hill is.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've never been to Tribus before.
Yeah.
I'm down in Stamford, right?
Yeah.
So I've never come to Milford. I literally had someone who came to us and did that, right? Came to us, said, these fuzzy baby ducks are amazing. I'm like, I don't know how you've never heard of fuzzy baby ducks.
Yeah.
First of all. But second, cool.
Yeah.
He's like, where's Depco? Where's like New England Brewing Company? I'm like, it's in Woodbridge, Connecticut.
Yeah.
It's like, where is that? I'm like, it's New Haven, right? Listen, I live in Orange, Woodbridge, New Haven. He's like, what is it, 45 minutes? Like, yeah. He's like, I'm going there next weekend.
Nice.
Like, that's, our goal is to be a Connecticut tap room. I want to create crossroads of someone in Stamford that goes, shit, I'm going to drive to Hartford to try this. I'm going to drive to freaking Niantic to try this. Like, there's breweries everywhere and there's talent all over the place.
Yeah, because I know it's very saturated. Not what you're doing.
No, so
breweries in general.
So again, we did it all. COVID hit.
Yeah.
Didn't get passed because they didn't vote.
Yeah.
But we had gained enough momentum for it actually to be there that next year.
Yes.
We went up to Hartford. We all gave our public speeches. We had the same people pushing for it in Hartford, and they listen. This is the craziest part of laws, right? It's been all this time debating, blah, 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 blah. They have until midnight on a certain date to pass these laws.
Yeah.
And basically what happens at the end, they're playing like chess. And they're like, if you put this law in there, I'll put your law in there.
Yeah,
put that
yeah,
one.
absolutely.
So, like, legit what happens is they will omnibus a bunch of these, which means they literally just bring up 30, 40 different ones, and they count them all off.
Yep.
And you have to vote on them, yea or nay, in like one vote.
Yeah.
So basically, you know that it's going to get passed. So it's funny, Zach was in Costa Rica, Connor and me were here, and it's at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And we're watching, like, closed captioned Hartford TV. And we're like, say our bill name, say our bill name. And they say it. And like, okay, well, they said it, now they have to vote on it. And they voted yes. Biggest relief ever.
I'm sure.
Ever.
That's awesome.
Saxon Costa Rica FaceTimed us. He's like screaming in the middle of God knows where. I'm like, did you get shot or something like that? Like, just be quiet. He's like, years and years of this. I'm like, all right, now we have years and years of trying to create a business. So that was 2020. It took us 2 years to find the location.
Yeah, of course.
Another year to build a location. We're at 30 Spring Street in Stamford, which is right off of Bedford Street. It was an old creperia. It was called Volta. It was a one floor, 2,200 square foot, with a, not even a kitchen, I would call it, just like a back room. So we created a whole brand new kitchen. The whole upstairs was nothing, empty. Like literally to the studs, just saw wood. We're like, that's the spot.
Yeah.
That's going to be where, like, that's our feel.
Yeah.
Open, high ceilings, people chilling, couches, drinking beer, playing games, just chill. Like, again, there's enough bars where you could wait 10 deep in line to get, just a beer, shot. No, you can pour yourself. You don't have to. Unless someone's pouring what you want, you have to wait a little bit. But outside of that, simple.
For everybody listening in, I know you said it's 30 Spring Street, correct? Stamford, Connecticut, and the name is?
It is Hop and Vine Taproom, as I drink from my fake Stanley that has a Hop and Vine Taproom sticker on it. See, you need a YouTube.
Everybody out there listening, again, it's Hop and Vine Taproom, 30 Spring Street in Stamford. Again, I haven't been there yet, but great reviews. I got a lot of friends that have been there. We're actually looking, I believe we're going to be there in a few weeks. And definitely stop down, support Matt and his friends and his business partners. I think it's a good place to go. I mean, I believe there is a place in Milford as well, but it's a different vibe, correct?
It is. So it's funny because like I said, there's 2 or 3 that have already opened before us. Right? We passed the law, but obviously it took us a long time to get open.
Yeah.
There's one in Avon.
Okay. Oof, that's a hike.
That's a hike, right? And But the person in Milford, cool. Like I want to see these places succeed. I want people from Avon to be like, this Southport stuff is cool.
Yeah.
I want people in Milford to say the same thing because I want people in Stamford to say the same thing. So if people in Stamford and Milford, they're gonna try them out.
Well,
people from Milford go to Stamford, they try me out, right?
And that's the cool thing where everybody can support each other. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, more than not, people in Stamford are going to come to your place as opposed to driving all the way to Milford to say, hey, let me try to Milford.
Oh, yeah.
Again, obviously you guys are different places.
It's a different world. I mean,
Yeah.
he's attached to the mall.
Yeah.
It's a pizza place. He has
that's
wings.
a different vibe too, being attached to the mall.
It is. But again, I went in. I'd love to just introduce myself. And he actually owns a couple places. I think he has a sushi place in like Fairfield.
Okay.
So he's a restaurateur, right? And I'm like, what made you kind of think of doing this? He's like, I saw the system. I thought it was cool. I always wanted to do something different outside of like Japanese fusion sushi.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's like, why not? Let's do a pizza place, pizza and beer.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they did a very good job. I mean, I think the malls, again, it's a tough
that is a
environment
tough
to thrive on,
right?
right?
A lot of places there. I've had their pizza. It was good. Obviously, we actually had it delivered. I think it was DoorDash we did. But, so, it was good, which makes me think being there would have been
8,000 Pizza, I'm pretty sure the name is. But again, different feel, different vibe.
Yeah,
like you
of
said.
course.
I mean, in Stamford, I would say 50, 60, even 70% of the people are walking from an apartment, another restaurant, another bar.
After work, happy hour.
Yeah, I mean,
Question for you, Matt. Now, I know you said you're not replacing bartenders, obviously. Do you guys do mixed drinks there as well? Or is it beer,
So
wine?
we do, right? So
Okay,
I have my beer wall.
Yeah.
Again, 69 taps, which is a combo of
That's awesome.
beer, wines, Prosecco's on there. We have kombuchas and non-alcoholics.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Again, not everyone wants to come and drink, but you could try a non-alcoholic. We have just the normal bar too. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a full bar. I don't have 17 different types of vodka or 20 different types of tequila. But
Bourbon?
Bourbon, man.
There you go.
Bourbon, whiskey. Again, not everyone wants to pour their own beverage too. Like, some people want to go to a bar and get a mixed drink.
And the way that works is, like I said, I haven't been there yet, but I'd love to to explain to everybody, again, 30 Spring Street, Stamford, Connecticut, Hop and Vine Taproom. How does it work? That you get charged by the pour, charged by the ounce, or how does that work?
I did like it, so now I get to explain how it works, right? So you walk through the door, I greet you with a kind hello, right? You always got to start with a smiling
He's not
face.
kidding, I've been greeted by his hellos.
Yeah, right, they're nice. Most of the time it's actually someone who looks better than I do. But again, you give me an ID and a credit card. Obviously, I need to make sure you're 21. But what happens is your credit card gets linked to an RFID card that I give you.
Okay.
That card then allows you to pour whatever you want from the wall. Everything is done by the ounce, right? So you could pour 1-2 ounces, or you could pour a full beer, right? That Fuzzy Baby dude was like, I don't want anything else. I just want Fuzzy Baby Ducks. I'm like, there's a bunch of other stuff. He's like, no, this is what I want, right? Okay. Sometimes when you know what you want, you get it. Same with the wine. It's a little bit different. We don't do the wine by an ounce. We actually do by like servings, which is kind of cool. Because who wants to pour like 1 ounce of wine, right? So we do 2.5. We do 5. And it's people tend to like it, right? So it's a half. It's a half glass. It's a taste.
No, it's cool. I just because I could see myself going in there and being like, oh yeah, and that's a smart thing to do because obviously I'm hoping you don't have people like this, but they go in there and then they try to drink and leave or things like that, which people do at bars.
So it's fine actually. Anyone who walks through my door and you get your card attached to a credit card, even if you leave with my card, I'm gonna close you out at the end of the day, right? So actually, we kind of don't want you to come back to me and close you out, right? I don't want you to come back to my person that's standing in the front. We have boxes, that you could put the card in, and it'll drop, right? You get 18%, 20%, 20%, right? So you could just leave. Like that's the cool part about us. You don't need to retouch anyone as you walk out. Just walk out. If you walk out with the card, we're gonna, at the end of the day, you see your tab. We close it, and we're done, right?
So that's cool. That's very, very cool, actually. you know, we're kind of coming to a close here. You know, this has actually been one of my longer podcasts, which is great.
Thanks, man.
I wanted
It's
to
easy to talk.
Well,
It's
yeah,
easy to talk.
100%. And I wanted to make sure that we got that in there because this is something that I think everybody should check out. Another question to you, which I've heard from people kind of like, you know, roaming the internet and things like this. How do you tip at a place like this?
So that's a funny question because I think when we were initially trying to do even just our business numbers, right?
Yeah.
Do we think we're going to get 20% tips from people when you're pouring your own beer? You're ordering, right? You're ordering your own food from a QR code. But you're getting more than that. You're getting kind of the experience.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
you know, if you kind of walk around, and even when I'm there, my people are all over the place.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So you know, you finish a glass, and about 2 seconds later, you turn around, and it's gone. They're there to provide the experience.
Absolutely.
And two, I think the cool part is we get a lot of people who just kind of they don't know what they want.
Yeah.
So I like the interaction of a customer who's like staring at the wall, like there's a lot to pick from.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, so either myself or one of my people are going to talk to you and be like, what are you looking for? What do you want? Right? That's more the interaction, not the general, I'm going to come, I'm going to take your order.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're also running their food to you, right? So they're going to bring your food to you, you're going to clean your table. But again, it was our own question. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe people are going to do 10-15%. You know,
well, because then you have to take into account too. Do you pay a higher salary or hourly wage? Because you're not sure if they're.
That was our tipping point, right? Because realistically, within restaurants themselves, there's a tip wage, right?
Yeah, I was going to say
that is because you know
lower,
you are going to get a lot in tips, and you pass it along to the waiters, and they make a lot of money. And it's nice. Like that's basically. I think it's the environment. People like it. Most people are in that 18-20% range, and again, as long as we're in that spot, like as a business, I need that one for my my employees. I want to make sure they make a great wage.
Absolutely.
But two, it shows me that they respect the work that my employees are giving. They like the environment. I think a couple of just the comments are just like, can we figure out an easier way to do QR codes? I'm like, at this point in life, most people know how to do QR codes.
COVID actually obviously changed all that, where everything is kind of touchless and this and that.
Right.
But listen, Matt, this has been great. Like I said, talking about sports, talking about what we love, and really talking about that business that you just started. I'm glad I was able to get you on here. And again, everybody, as always, this is J.D. Lewis with Untamed Conversations. And again, this is my buddy Matt, 30 Spring Street. It's a Hop and Vine Taproom in Stamford, Connecticut. Absolutely go take a look and try some beers, have some wine, grab some food, and have a good time. Everybody have a good night.
Thanks, man. It's been a pleasure.